What's good, GATV? It's your boy Gravitating Away, and I got a nice one for y'all today. And this subject deals with integrity and the ethics of it. What would you do if you had to sacrifice your self-constitution, i.e. principles, if it was at the cost of a job that you seemed, or rather viewed as something that could be of the come up, gather and garner clout, put you out there? Well, in this case, we're going to check out Gina Views, the former No Jumper employee. And I've always thought her particular situation was an interesting one, man. I mean, I've always felt like she seemed like she didn't really want to be there. A lot of you folks out there in your respective careers, you probably don't want to be there. So she came out to the woodworks and shared her thoughts on the Math Hoffa Podcast, man. Let's just react to it and check it out together, y'all.
Formerly, you were part of No Jumper.
Yes.
And you were part of the crew that left.
I was a part of the group that
said peace.
Yes.
Did all
And they all left, it feels like. At least the ones that mattered.
the black people leave? Is that what it was?
Not necessarily all the black people. The majority of the black
stayed?
people left.
Yeah.
So Almighty Suspect is still there.
Uh-huh.
Poetic Flacco is still there. And that's pretty much their part.
Hey, Poetic Flacco or whatever, man, you have no backbone. Just for, the record, I've always rooted for you, thinking that you're very interesting on camera. You brought your own niche to the show or whatever, but you let them try you and size you on so many levels. I have no respect for you. Now, if you grow from here on out, we'll see where the respect goes. But I ain't nobody to say that. But in general, I can't respect that, brother. You're the clown, the buffoon, the one that nobody takes serious because you have no testicular fortitude, man. But I just wanted to throw that out. And Almighty Suspect, you have an identity crisis. Either you a gangster, a professional, what the hell you want to be. You have an identity crisis, bro. I see it, man. I see the ones that play that game of acting extra tough. Y'all check out Almighty Suspect on No Jumper. He remained because that brother's on contract. But that's not what I'm talking about. That brother got a personality that's obvious. He's going through an identity crisis, man. A lot of you brothers, though.
Part of the group who was like an original cast that didn't leave.
Right.
And then it's like new talent there now.
So you guys, how long were you on the platform?
2 years.
2 years.
2 years.
God.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
That's
You
a
started
time.
Jumping. Now, what made you leave?
There was a clip that surfaced, some racist stuff. I'm sure everybody saw.
No, we don't.
Basically, Adam brought in a so-called former neo-Nazi, which I'm under the impression that Adam aligns with the views of them boys. I already feel that in my heart. But nonetheless, Adam kind of did a sloppy job at it. Of all the black folks he had working for him, he had nobody on the panel to rebuttal said former Nazi member or ask him questions about what was his affiliations and the reason being he had those affiliations. Instead, they made certain jokes, and it was just a disservice to the people that work for you that you would even put a brother like that, not a brother, a racist like that on your show. So that's what she's referring to. If you can go back and check it out, I just thought it was a slap in face to those former employees. But remember, guys, nobody put a gun to their head. And Adam already displayed so many signs that, that's what he's aligned with. And them brothers stayed on the show. Shout out to them. They doing they doing real big things, but it just I thought it took the worst for them to step out when they had all the flags that they needed to depart from that crap, bro.
I have no idea.
Don't lie.
We like a 6-hour flight. Where you at? We don't know what the fuck is going on.
We are ignorant to it.
Gina is beautiful.
It was a clip that came out,
She's
and
gorgeous.
Adam had a guest on who said some things that the black people didn't really agree with. And the clip came out. It hit the timeline in the midst of everything that was happening at No Jumper. So
What else was going on?
oh, it was just a lot of
Just drama.
just drama. Yeah, it was a lot of drama.
Just a lot of.
Yeah.
He was like, this too messy for me.
Well, actually, I just let them know I didn't want to be on camera anymore. So I just said, at this point, I just can't be on camera anymore. I have already had my reservations with certain things, but then they gave me the show that I wanted, which was a freestyle series. That's the only thing I ever wanted to do on the platform. And then I got it in the midst of all the drama happening. Adam came and
It was a great addition to the show when she brought out the whole freestyle thing. And those of us that's into battle rap, you know, I saluted that. And Lush One, who's one of the OGs of battle rap, hooked up with her with that part of the show.
Fire somebody on the show, I felt like it was just a shit in my face. Like,
Wow.
I'm about to come fire right on your show. We're going to take away from this whole moment.
Adam fired Lush live on the show while she was conducting her audition to the whole No Jumper Network. Go check that out, too, if y'all haven't seen that. And I thought that was so unprofessional to fire somebody live on the show. It wasn't pre-recorded. It was live during the show. And why did he fire Lush? You know, he fired Lush because Lush, you know, put AD, another former co-host on the show, he put him on game that, yo, Adam talking reckless about you, saying you don't bring nothing to the table, et cetera, et cetera. We ain't going to go down the rabbit hole. But nonetheless, he fired Lush on the show while Gina was conducting her show on the platform. And it was just so unprofessional and disrespectful to Gina views. But
That was your show? You
That
talking
was
about
my
Lush
show.
One, right?
Crazy.
Yes.
I remember that.
You saw that, right?
Yeah. So that happened, then a whole bunch of, allegations came out, a bunch of clips
Wow.
and shit,
Allegations
the
about
timeline.
what?
About just
Alligator.
Google it.
Oh, what? She said Google it.
Google it.
They
Wait,
come, they
so
come
hold
here
on.
to find out.
So when shit like this happened, you had to sign like an NDA or something, or you free to speak of how you feel?
No,
as far
it's
as
ghetto
your
up
experience?
over there. No, it's everything over there nigga rigged. It ain't.
So what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, it's not that I don't want to say it because of like paperwork or anything. I just don't want to on nobody while they down.
Yeah.
So
got you.
that's
Yeah, I
just
respect
my integrity won't allow me to do the things that have
respect
been
that.
done to.
interesting, but I could respect it. You know, everyone that left the show, and it was quite a few, had their own opinions and their own stories about why they left. And everybody, lack of a better word, everybody threw dirt on why they left. They threw dirt on Adam, deservingly, by the way. Racist 22, you deserve everything they were saying. But, Gina saying she's above all of that. And she's speaking on integrity. But I said it's interesting for a reason. The integrity you should have had to leave earlier, you didn't. But now it's about respecting Adam's name. Maybe personally, I think it's because he gave her an opportunity. But, either way you view it, I can always respect somebody who feels above the so-called, quote-unquote, name calling. So I give her, kudos for that.
To me.
I respect that. Can you give us a number of somebody who will?
Oh, y'all get T-Rail up in here. He'll tell you everything.
No, real, you need to come through, son.
Facts.
T-Rail, you need to come through, man.
T-Rail told me
You
he
know
wanted
what
to pull
the
up.
fuck is going on over there,
And he
bro?
said he wanted to pull up on you.
Yeah,
But T-Rail, they'll tell you everything. But it's different when because for the most part I wasn't in nothing. So you're not gonna find any headlines. You're not gonna find any thing with me being associated with anything going on. They were all more so involved with everything going on, so they can speak on stuff more.
Right.
But I don't want in 5-10 years that there's something you can Google. Oh, Uniview says Adam 22 is da da da.
Right.
At the end of the
Facts.
day, this is the person who, when niggas wasn't letting me in the door, Adam let me in the door.
Right.
Adam let me sit on his platform. I got the visibility there. I met at BET on the red carpet because of me being you Gina from da da da.
Right.
I got a lot of situations.
Respect, man.
Being in that situation. So I could never shit on him. I don't fuck with them though, but I can't do that to the person who
I respect it.
let me in the game.
Can I?
It be ninjas that want you to, quote unquote, shit on a situation they felt like they would have done this, they would have done that. But same individuals that might have had motion to put you on won't put you on, but they'll be quick to tell you what they would have done. So, that's why I say kudos to her, because I'm sure she was knocking on at many doors. Nobody gave her an opportunity. End of the day, Adam gave her a shot. And you can't sell that short.
ask a question. So has
Cut the cameras off. She ain't talking.
Has-
They really cut them too.
has anything ever happened while you on that platform that like made you feel uncomfortable? You as a woman.
I've been uncomfortable there since I got there, but it was
And she always looked like she was uncomfortable. So many episodes.
If the cameras on the block, right?
Exactly. You pull up on that. But it was a lot of shit that happened up there that made me feel uncomfortable. It was a lot of days where I was like, I would go in there not wanting to be there, but I knew like if I really want to be in this industry, I really want to, be a part of the music industry, then this is just one of the situations that I gotta be in to overcome. This shit ain't for the weak.
That right there. And I'm gonna have a conclusion at the end of this, and y'all stick around and hear it. It's very important. She saw the red flag. She understood what she was sacrificing by going against her principles, remaining on the show. Maybe it's because she saw the vision at the end of this so-called weird rainbow where she could benefit. But what is the price of your integrity? What is y'all price? Well, we're going to chop it up down the road.
That's the sacrifice you got to make, huh?
Yeah.
I never felt like that.
No, never.
Yeah, I never felt like that.
I understand that sometimes people, such as yourself, look at it like, all right, I'll start here and this will catapult me to something else, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't realize not having the foresight, like, I may go through this, I may go through that, because you're dealing with a more masculine situation.
Yes.
You're dealing with a lot of men in
I was the
one
only
room.
girl on the platform.
Right.
Only
Right.
girl.
Yeah.
Out of everybody.
Yes. Only girl on the platform.
Was there any racial tensions while you were there?
What you mean?
You being a black woman on that show.
There were situations that I felt that if I was a nigga, I wouldn't be dealing with it.
So it was a respecting.
I think what he wanted to ask was, were there any sexist situation? Because when you're saying, was there any racist or racial tension, then she comes back and says, if she felt like if she was a dude, basically. See, that's a sexist issue, but, small potatoes, y'all.
From certain
Exactly.
parties. But
Right.
I don't feel like the respect was universal. Everybody,
Right.
in there. But I mean, it's going to be multiple buildings that I walk in where that's going to be the situation. That's just how it is. It's being a female in the industry. It's it is what it is. But
I feel like times are changing, especially with the music being more female dominated.
This is
But
true.
there's with everything going on and there's this like new female movement, everybody hasn't adjusted to that. And it's like a thin line of being assertive and being a bitch. So I can walk in the room and say, I can walk in one of them rooms over there, the glass company, this is what I want, this is what I want to do. Oh, you're emotional. Oh, you a little bitchy. You want too much. But if I'm a guy, then it's like, oh, okay, strong man. I love it. I fuck with it. So
Where did you hear that?
I'm just saying, it's a thin line, but
To be fair, Gina Views was one of the least popular co-hosts on the No Jumper podcast network, whatever you want to group that into. But she was one of the least favorites. So I think it was a matter of, what did you bring to the table? And I'm not knocking her because she's a woman. Let's just get this out of the way. YouTube is mostly viewed at least 85% male. It's a male-dominated viewership. So I don't think it's sexist. I just think it's who the viewers cater to. That's all it really was. But hey, that's her story and she's sticking to it.
My nigga, you know how many officers I got kicked out of? What are you talking about? I would love to meet the nigga that loves it. Matt just came in and barked on everybody. We gave him a check. I would love that.
But when men do it, you're looked at as like, oh, he's assertive. I respect him. He's a boss.
But when women do it, to me, it makes...
This is the problem. I'm telling you, I grew up talking to these girls about this, these women and these girls. Listen, if you stick to your role, whatever that may be, and for whatever reason, even me starting that off like that, they call it condescending. But nah, man, when you're trying to view yourself or compete yourself with a man, ladies, you will not win. In the grand scheme of things, you will not win. And that was one of the main reasons Gina Views had so many clashes on No Jumper, despite the so-called sexism, despite the obvious racism that was going on in there. It was because of this ever need that this new liberal, feministic, modern day and age in America is pushing on you women. You always feel the need to not compete against the other sister, but it's compete against men. And on that show, she was dominated against in terms of them just being men. So what I mean by it is the viewers are going to decide. When you have a podcast or whatever, and you got co-hosts, the viewers decide who they choose to be the face, who they like, and that's just how it goes, sis. So that's one thing about Gina I did not like, was she has an issue going on where she always feels like she has to compete with a man.
They're more attractive. I'm like, oh, she's kind of spicy. I like that.
But that happened in your where you was at prior. That only happened there. You only seen that there. Did you witness that anywhere else?
No.
Exactly. So that's the thing.
Yeah. So no.
You can't put.
All right, I'm gonna stop it here. It's not too much more left to go, but let's chop it up real quick about what I do feel about this entire situation. Now, I'm talking to y'all. What to do when your job interferes with your integrity? We learn certain values at an early age. These are basic values that we learned as children. And many of us teach our own children these lessons. They are, in fact, the fundamental building blocks of a civil so-called society, y'all. Without basic rules of common respect, we would experience chaos and anarchy. But what happens when you find that as an adult? And I'm talking to you, Gina, and others as well. That when you find yourself as an adult, right, the rules aren't always straightforward and tidy. What do you do when your job requires you to do things that make you feel out of integrity with yourself? What happens to your conscience when this happens? How do you look at yourself in the mirror every day and keep up the pretense that everything is okay? For the most part, this isn't an everyday dilemma for most folks, right? But it can be a problem for many of us. Some of us, however you view it. But I'm willing to bet many of you there has been a time in your life you have come across these issues where your integrity comes to play. And you have to decide, do you drop the guards down that protects it? Or do you go along with the program? Or do you stand firm in your square? See, here's the thing. Would you quit out of protest? Many of you wouldn't. You can say whatever you want, and that's fine. Probably got bills to take care of, children to take care of. I get it. Or would you tell yourself to do your job and stop fretting? I'm on the inclination, I say do what's right for you and your family. But I do believe there's certain issues, especially the issue Gina had. And all of those employees, it's not just Gina, it's all of those so-called black employees that was on Adam Racist 22's No Jumper Network. They had these ethical dilemmas come in question. And I feel like for whatever the reason, maybe it was the clout, maybe it was a feeling of we're all in this together and nobody stepped up to the plate yet. But for whatever reason, they took it on the chin. And it was hard for those of us that watch that show every other day or whatever it is that you watch and say, man, you guys can have your own motion, but you sticking under this so-called, racist dude over here. You can't come complain to us, but stick around and think we're going to have sympathy for you. See, it seems to be an old-fashioned idea, right? I mean, few people take ethics, I would say, very seriously anymore. It seems indeed, especially in our government institutions, right? No surprise, they struggle to reach the masses because of the lack of ethical clarity. So what we look at the government and we call out them, right? Say they ain't real, they bend the rules, etc. But then we'll look at people we like and don't put the same onus on them. Nah, man, you got to keep it straight away, even keel on everything that you discuss, that you're discussing, that you want to employ it on morality, you want to employ it on integrity, principles, etc. You got to pick a side when it comes to things like that. I personally say so. Again, I'm not the one that's going to judge you. Everybody have their own opinions when it comes to integrity and what you would sacrifice or not based off of your family, finances, economics, bills, etc. But I just thought, she brought some light to some answers I personally wanted to know and some others maybe. And I give her, respect for coming on Math Hoffa's podcast and sharing that. I'm not going to knock her. Everybody has to go through learning phases. And dealing with somebody like an Adam 22, there's so many of them that culture appropriate when it comes to the black community, and not enough folks wants to do the right thing and step away. And I'm talking about the former employees. Bravo to them. They're doing their thing. But it took so much things to happen for y'all to step up and say, nah, no mas. No mas. No, that means no more, So gravitating away. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Like, share, comment, subscribe. But most importantly, keep coming